good afternoon to everybody who's joined me online today for Pilates, and hope you're all fit and well. And the class is 45 minutes and for mixed ability really, so lots of different levels as always to talk through with you. Remember that I can't see you, just making sure you stay safe, don't do anything you feel you shouldn't be doing. If you do have any injuries at all, don't do anything that causes you any pain or discomfort, just anytime you need to. We will get going. So we'll do our standing warm up first of all, and then we'll go down onto the mat for our mat Pilates exercises. So first of all, let's make sure we've got a really good posture before we start. So standing nice and tall, making sure that your legs are hip width apart, so your heels are underneath your knees and your hip bones, so your legs are parallel, just making sure your feet aren't turned out or turned in, they're facing forwards, making sure then that you look forwards, don't look at your feet, look forwards, and lengthen your spine, so just lifting the top of the head up towards the ceiling, but keeping the neck long, chin slightly tucked in. Chest, shoulders wide and open, big smile across the front of your collarbone there. Bottom of the rib cage softening down towards the hips, so try not to let your rib cage flare up. Hands on the hips, let's just do our little tip and tilt of the pelvis. So keeping everything else nice and still, just soften your knees very slightly and just do a little tuck under with your tail, little tip up with the sit bones, keeping your upper body nice and still, just mobilizing your pelvis, tipping and tilting. And then just settling into that neutral position in between. So you should be quite level and balanced across your hips. And then we can pull in and pull up. So pull in your abdominals as if you're trying to shorten the space in between your two hip bones, and lifting up as if you're trying to zip up a tight pair of trousers. So just keeping that connection to your center. Let's just set our shoulders, bring your shoulders towards up by your ears, and just slide your shoulder blades down towards the base of your spine. Then we're going to take an in-breath, just float your arms forward, and as you breathe out, bring them back down by your sides. Then as you breathe in, let's reach the arms wide to side and bring them back down. Let's take them wide to the side again. So let's reach the arms wide, then draw them in towards each other, shoulder width apart, then reach wide to the side again, and then bring them down. Just a little bit work through your shoulders, reaching to the side, reaching forwards, reaching back to the sides and reaching down. So shoulder mobility, let's do one more of those each way. Just feel the weight of your arms going all the way across your shoulders and into your back. Arms wide to the side and down. Just roll your shoulders, relax your shoulders, keep your arms long down by your sides. Let's see how we can balance today, challenge your balance. Breathing in, we're going to lift the heels off the floor, rising up onto the front of your feet. And slowly as you came up, lower your heels back down. Try not to lean forwards or backwards. Shoulders stay over, hips just lifting up and coming back down. So if you're really wobbly, hold on to a wall. If you're next to a wall, just put your fingers on the wall, just give you that leg bit of stability. We can always have a chair nearby, hold on to a chair. Let's put the two together. Let's reach your arms forward first of all as you lift your heels. And then lower your heels back down. Then let's reach your arms wide to the side as you lift your heels. See if you can keep your heels up as you bring your arms forward and as you take them back wide. And now we're going to drop the heels and lower the arms. So a little bit more balancing as we just keep the heels up. So lift, reach to the side, slowly with the heels up, put them down if you need. If you can, just reaching forwards, ooh, a bit wobbly, and take your arms wide again, and then lower your heels as your arms come down. Let's do that one more last time. Lift and reach to the side, stay lifted in your heels, reach forward, and then reach wide to the side again, and slowly bring your arms down by your sides. Now breathe in as you do that. Just slide your left hand down the side of your left leg. Right elbow reaches up towards the ceiling. Just slide the hand up the side of your rib cage. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your arms. Let's go the other way. So your lateral flexion, just bending sideways. You get a nice stretch down the side of your waist as we bend the spine sideways, laterally bending the spine. So you're stretching all the way down your side. Try not to pull your hips over with you. Just make sure you're weighted even in both of your feet. So pressing into your feet so you've got a solid base underneath. Let's make this the last one. And then just bring both the arms down by your sides. Just let your arms reach towards the floor, breathe in. As you breathe, let's sit down in our squat. So just reaching your arms forward as you sit back and down. Push into your, squeeze your glutes as you come out of your squat. Sit down again, you've got that low chair behind, just aiming towards that chair with your sit bones. Push into your heels as you stand nice and tall. Let's sit back and down. If you can, just stay here and then just reach your arms wide to the side, keeping your knees bent. Pull the arms back in so they're facing forwards and then come out of your squat. Let's go down again, just holding that squat, just keeping that strength in our legs, our glutes and our hips as we just mobilize through the shoulders. Let's do that, but if you can, let's sit back and down, reach your arms forward. Can you lift your heels off the floor as you reach your arms wide to the side? Not so easy. Heels down if you need to. Then draw your arms in towards each other, and as you bring your arms down by your side, straighten your legs and bring your heels down. So really strengthening our legs, our glutes. Lift the heels off the floor if you can when you're in your squat. Reach to the sides, pull your arms in. As you straighten your legs, heels come down, arms down by your sides. One more. So really good for mobility, strength. Lift the heels, open the arms. Pull the arms back in, arms down, heels down, stand nice and tall. Let's just lift the arms up towards you, look up. Just take a bit of a stretch there. Reach your fingertips to the ceiling. Circle your arms wide to side and bring them all the way down towards the floor. Let's do a little bit of forward flexion now. So go to the end of your mat if you're not there already, just making sure you've got the length of the mat in front of you. Heels underneath your hips. So if you walked anywhere, just take your time just to make sure you've got that neutral standing posture. Soften the knees, shoulders back and down. Then we're going to roll down through the spine. So breathe in as your chin drops towards the chest, and then off we go. That sequential movement down. So one vertebra at a time is releasing down towards the floor. Hands on your thighs if you need support. Bend your knees a lot if you've got back issues. Only going as deep as you can as your spine allows. Really breathe in as you breathe out, slowly coming back up again. Again, sequentially, rebuilding your spine, standing tall at the top. Let's go again. So nice, smooth, flowing movement, releasing down. Arms just hang unless you're putting your hands on your thighs for support, or you bend your knees. Remember your options. Slowly coming back up again. So you feel a nice stretch into the spine, into the back of the legs, working into our hips as we're flexing the hips as we come down. So this time we're going to come all the way down. So if you need to, a big, big bend in the knees as your fingertips get towards the floor. When you're towards the floor, put your hands on the front of your feet and let's walk out. 1, 2, 3, hand faces forward and drop your knees onto the mat underneath your hips and then untuck your toes. So hopefully we're more or less in a tabletop position. So just take a moment just to adjust your hands at your knees. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, shoulder blades back and down. Make sure your pelvis is in neutral, so we're not tipping or tilting, we're in between. Tummy's pulling in away from that, shoulders back and down, next in line with your spine. So from here, see how you go with this. We're going to do a tricep press up, so working into the backs of the arms here. So on your next in-breath, just bend your elbows. Keep your elbows pointing towards the back side of your mat and lower your chest down towards the floor in between your hands. So your upper arms are just brushing the sides of your ribcage. Exhale, push into your hands and straighten your arms. And then from there, let's breathe in. As you breathe, let's tuck the tail under and come into a cat stretch. So really mobilizing the spine now. Arching your back, and then from there we go into our cow pose. So just tip your sit bones up towards the ceiling and dip your spine, slide your shoulder blades down and look forward. So your chest and your eye gaze are forward now, extending, and then just bring your spine back to that neutral position to your tabletop. Tuck your toes under. And then either stay here or see if you can just hover your knees just off the floor. So weight bearing into your arms, your shoulders, your back, your chest, in the hover, and then put your knees down on the floor, untuck your toes, just
Keep your hands exactly where they are. Just pull your sit bones back towards your heels. Breathe in as you come forwards again, back into your tabletop. Let's just do that sequence one more last time. So keep your spine and your neck long. As you breathe in, bend your elbows. Try and put them towards the back end of the mat, not wide to side. Just lower your chest down towards it. So don't arch or round your spine. Push into your hands, come out of your press up. Then come into your cat stretch. So round the spine, arch your back, shoulders wide across your back, chin to chest, then go the other way, sit bones tip up, dip the spine, bring the chest and the eye gaze forward, and then slowly coming back where we started into tabletop, nice and long in your spine. One more last little knee hover if you can, so just tuck your toes under. You can do this with your toes flat on the floor if you don't like tucking your toes. Then just press into your hands and your toes and just hover your knees off the floor. Just stay here just for a breath or two if you can. Put your knees down if you need to. So really good exercise of strengthening and working through your abdominals as well. So keep pulling your abdominals in. And then from there, let's just drop the knees onto the floor, untuck your toes, bring yourself back, sit on your heels or high knee if you prefer, then just roll your shoulders, just getting a little bit of release around your shoulder joints, and then circle your wrists, sort of weight bearing through our wrists as well there. So now we're going to lie down on our front. So bring your hands onto the mat, just come down safely. So just walking towards the front end of the mat, coming onto your forearms, then we can walk the knees back and sink your hips down onto the floor and then your chest. So we're going to swim today. I think we did breaststroke last week, so we're going to do prone swimming today. A little bit different, but still working the spine, the back of the body in extension. First of all, we'll work the legs only, so just stack your hands, rest your forehead lightly on the backs of your hands. Try and make sure you've got a diamond shape with your arms, so your elbows are lower than the level of your hands, so you can pull the shoulder blades down towards the hips. So keep your shoulder blades in that nice neutral position. Stretch your legs long behind you. Your heels should be in line with your sit bones, so facing the ceiling. So try not to roll your heels outwards or inwards. So same position for your legs as if we were standing. So hip width apart, although the front of your feet now are flat on the floor. Just opening up the lower back, just by trying to draw your sit bones towards the bottom end of the mat. So just feeling your lower back open, and then draw your abdominals away from that. So pull your tummy away from that. So try and find a space beneath your belly button, and try and keep that space there as we work through our sequences. So when you're ready from here, let's breathe in. As you breathe out, we're just going to lengthen the right leg and lift the right leg just a few inches away from that, engaging into your glute, working into your hamstring, and then lower the leg back down, just making sure you don't turn the heel inwards or outwards. Lengthen and lift on your exhale, your left leg. So just reach for your toes and feel like you're trying to extend the leg long out of your hip. So just alternating your single leg prone extensions. So nice work for the hips, the legs, lifting and lengthening. So you might want to just stay doing this. Let's do one more of those each side. Last time you left, so trying to remember always do the same amount of repetitions each side. Then if you can, if you want a little bit more, keep your head and your neck completely still. Just slide your hands from underneath your forehead and extend your arms long overhead. So they're shoulder width apart, with your palms facing inwards, so make sure you didn't pull your shoulder blades up. Your head is still just lifted away from that, lengthening through the top of your head. Breathe in as you breathe. We're going to lift the left arm and the right leg away from the floor now. And breathe in, lower them back down again. So opposite arm, opposite leg, lengthen and lift. And lower. So just reaching through your fingertips, reaching through your toes, keeping everything else nice and still. Try not to move your spine or your neck. So think length, not lifting too high. Think trying to find the length rather than the height. It's a nice gentle swim. And let's do one more of those each side. Remember, you can always just go back to working the legs only, or just work the arms only. If you're feeling super strong, if you lift both of your arms both of your legs away from the floor, but again, keep your spine and your neck still, squeeze your glutes, lower your arms and your legs lightly back down, lengthen and lift, reach for the fingertips and the toes, keep lengthening through the top of your head all the time, just lifting from the shoulders, lifting from the hips, squeeze your glutes, so really feel that work all the way down the back of your body, so really nice work for our strengthening our backs and our core as well. Keep pulling your tummy away from the mat. Really nice for our posture as well. Do one more, big reach, lengthen and lift. Just hold that reach, just for a breath or two if you can. Don't hold your breath, just hold the lift. And then lower all the way down. Just bend your elbows, slide your hands underneath your forehead. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your chest. And then let's just lift the feet off the floor, bring your heels over your knees, and just do that little windscreen wiper action with your legs. Just take your legs over to one side and then the other, which should just allow your hips, your glutes, your legs just to release off any tension. Then line your heels up with your sit bones, lengthen your legs back down onto the mat, put your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up onto your hands and knees, and from there just pull your sit bones back towards your heels, just stretching. So you feel a nice stretch down your back now, across the chest, into the shoulders, and just don't forget to breathe, just taking a breath or two there. And then from there, let's come up onto our hands and knees. Let's go onto our side next today. So just going to do a little bit of work through our side waist. So lie all the way down on one side and stretch your legs away. Both of your legs are long. So bring your legs forward slightly so you can see at least your feet when you look down, but make sure your shoulders are in line with your hips. So lying down with your head just resting on your bicep, on your bottom arm, and then look forward. So we've been looking down, but look forward, lengthen your neck. So just make sure your hips are stacked, one on top of the other, your shoulders are stacked, your neck is long, and your knees and feet are in line. Just softly point your toes. And then we're going to rest the top arm on the top side of your hip or on your thigh. If you know you're really wobbly, bring your legs a little bit further forward. That will just give you a little bit more stability. And you can always put your hand on the floor, flat hand on the floor in front of your rib cage. See how you go. We're going to do what's called the banana. So we lift both of the ends of the body away from the floor at the same time. So using that arm just to press gently into the bottom arm. And if you can, just have your top arm, as I say, resting on the top of your thigh. Pull your abdominals in, so pull in and pull up, so you've got that support around your centre. Then breathe in. As you breathe out, all we're going to do is we're going to slide the top hand along the top side of the leg. Lift your legs up away from you, keep them pinned together. And if you can, just lift maybe your armpit, maybe a few of your top side ribs off the floor at the same time. So both ends of the body are lifted, and then slowly lower back down again. And then go again, slide your hand up along the top side of your leg towards your knee, reaching through your fingertips, lifting it, don't lift them high, think lengthening the legs as you lift them, and just that little upper part of your side ribs, you may be lifting off the floor. You don't have to slide your hand along the thigh, you can just keep it lifted and reach towards the bottom end of the mat. Or your option, as I said before, just pop your hand on the floor in front of your rib cage. That will give you a lot of support if you need to do that. You may be able to lift and lengthen a little bit more with your hand resting on the floor. So we're halfway. Let's keep going. Rest if you need to. Lengthen and lift. Keep your neck in line with your spine. Slowly coming back down. 3 more to go. And just 2 more. And remember, if any of these exercises don't suit you, just take a rest. Last time. And slowly, with control, come all the way down. Just bring yourself up to a seated position. Either just keep your knees folded over to the side like this, or cross your legs if you prefer. Just going to take a little bit of a stretch. So the bottom arm you had your head resting on, just have both of your fingertips by your hips. Take that bottom arm up and over. Just take a side bend, stretching out. sweep the arm back up and over, and then the other arm, take that arm up and over, without leaning forwards or backwards, just stretching all the way down your side. Bring both of the arms down and then just roll your shoulders. Take your legs round to the other side. We'll do that on the other side now. So lengthening your bottom arm and lengthening your legs. Remember your options, bring your legs a little bit further forward if you need to. But even if they're not too far forward, maybe you need to be able to see at least just your feet. Otherwise you'll just wobble backwards. Then lengthen your neck, rest your head on your bicep, just making sure that the hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Hopefully we've got a little space underneath our sideways. If it's not there, maybe just stretch your top leg a little bit further away so our hips are level. And then rest your top hand on your top thigh, or as you know, your option, just pop your hand on the floor in front of your ribs if you need to, shoulder wave here. So your fingertips are reaching just towards the outside of your top knee. So you might find one side easier than the other. Again, use your abdominals here. Breathe in, just pointing your toes softly, your legs stay pinned together. As you breathe out, we're just going to lift the legs, slide your fingertips along the top side of the leg towards your knee, just lifting your armpit maybe, feel the top side ribs off the floor, and slowly coming back down. If you need to just lift your legs only, just lift your legs only. Or you can just lift the top leg maybe. And then again, you don't, as I say, you do not need to keep your hand on the thigh, you can just reach your fingertips towards the bottom end of your mat and coming back down again. Use your exhale. Remember to keep using your abdominals to stabilize. The navel draws in towards your spine as we lift and lengthen. So we're halfway. And again, if it's not for you, just take a rest anytime you need to. So try not to lift too high. So if you try to start lifting too high, you'll inevitably start to round the spine or arch the back. Just coming up and down. 2 more to go. Find a little bit more lift, which remember, if you come here, you can probably get a little bit more lift because you're stabilizing yourself just that little bit more with your hand. And was that one more last one? I think we're on the last one, aren't we? Big reach. And slowly bring your both ends of your body down. Again, just gently bring yourself up to seated. And keep your knees folded over to the side, or cross your legs. And that bottom arm you had your head resting on, take it up and over, take your side bend. Bring the arm back down by your side, go the other way. Stretch out your waist. And bring both the arms down by your sides. And maybe just might need to take a little shoulder on there. So now we're going to lie down on our backs. So lying down on your back, coming down nice and slowly and safely. Lie on your back with your knees bent. So have your feet flat on the floor. Make sure you've got your neutral line, your heels, your knees, and your hip bones. Shoulders wide across your back on the mat. So making sure we're really stable across our shoulders, across our hips. Just put your arms on the mat down by your sides and just tip and tilt your pelvis just a few times each way. So just pressing your lower back into the mat, just a very low part of your back. Arch it away. And then maybe do that 1 or 2 more times as we did when we were standing. And then when you're ready, just find the position in between that tip and the tilt. So hopefully you've got that neutral position for your pelvis to keep your back stable and the pelvis still. Let's draw the abdominals in, so pulling in and pull up, so you've got that support around your center. And we're going to turn the palms into face the hips today, thumbs to ceiling, shoulders away from your ears, and breathe in. As you breathe out, we're going to take the right arm towards the floor behind you as you reach your left leg towards the bottom end of the mat. Breathing in, arm comes down by your side and your foot goes back where it came from. And then the left arm goes back, stretch your right leg away. So just let the leg hover off the mat. So you're just reaching your toes towards the bottom end of the mat. And you'll take your arm just in line with your ear as it goes behind you, trying not to pull the rib cage up as you take the arm back. Slide the heel on the floor if you need a little bit more support. So all the while, we make sure that nothing has moved in your lower back, your pelvis or your hips. If it does, maybe you don't want to extend the leg fully. Maybe just keep the leg a little bit bent before you bring it back in again. So just finding that nice extension through your arms and your legs, just working through your shoulder, your hip. And let's just keep going. Let's just do 1 more of those each side. So remember, exhaling as you reach away, breathing out and breathing in as you come back. And the last time like that. And arm down by your side as your foot comes down. You might just want to stay with that. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, brace the abdominals just a little bit more. Lift your left foot off the floor and then bring your right foot up off the floor to do it. So our legs are in tabletop now, just making sure the knees are over your hips, heels more or less in line with your knees, and your arms are back down by your sides, palms facing your hips. So same action, but both our feet are off the floor now, so it's a little bit more challenging, making sure you remain completely still and your lower back mustn't arch off the floor. So breathe in. As you breathe out, this time we're going to stretch the left leg away, reaching through your toes as the right arm goes back. Bring the arm back down, your knee comes back over your hip. Then the right leg, stretching it away. And arm down by your side. So just feeling the difference with both of the feet off the floor. So much more challenging now. Even if we just kept our legs in tabletop without even moving them, you would still feel that work in your deep core muscles just to keep both of the feet off the floor with your back in place. So put both of the feet down if you need to. Keep going, stretching through your toes. The lower you take your leg towards the floor, the more challenging it's going to be. So if it's too much, you could just straighten your leg straight up to the ceiling to make it easier and bend the knee again, that's an option. Or just don't take your leg quite so low towards the floor. Or don't extend the leg fully, otherwise stretching the leg long out of your hip. How many more can we do? Let's just do 2 more each side if you can. So really nice core strength exercise. So remember, really always focusing on our core in Pilates, our powerhouse. And then that's the last one. So then we can just put our hands on top of our knees, bring your knees in so you'll feel your back imprint onto the mat, all of your spine. And then just take a little rock from side to side. So just by drawing the knees in, we can just open up the lower back and stretch. So from there, let's put our feet back down on the floor one at a time. So let's bring the focus onto our upper abdominals as well now. So just set yourself up in that same alignment, knees and feet hip width. And then arms light on the mat down by your side. Just making sure your shoulders are away from your ears, shoulder blades wide across your back. Again, that neutral position for your pelvis and your spine. So you'll stay across your shoulders, across your hips. So we're just going to hover the arms off the mat. So you're just reaching your fingertips towards the bottom end of the mat with your palms facing down. Then breathe in. As you breathe out, just lift your head off the floor and peel your upper spine away from that, reaching your fingertips towards your outer ankle bones. And then breathing in, slowly come back down. So imprint your upper spine and then put your head back down on the floor. And curling up, scooping in. Try not to tuck your tailbone under when you come up. If the tailbone tucks under, maybe don't take so much of your spine away from the mat. You've got a little tangerine tucked underneath your chin as you curl up and as you come back down. So maintaining that space in between your chin and your chest. So really nice. So just bringing your ribs towards your hips. That's a nice curl up or a crunch. It's a smooth crunch. All right, let's keep going if you can. So we're going to work our core a little bit more in a moment. Let's do 2 more like that. From here, we're just going to flow into the 100. So let's make the next one our last one. If you can, come up, curl up, and stay here. You can put your head and shoulders down, back on the floor if you need to. Otherwise, we're just going to start to pump our arms up and down, breathing in through the nose of 5, out through the mouth of 5. So your arms are long, just using your arms to help you count 5 pumps as you breathe in, 5 as you breathe out. Then lift one foot off the floor, bringing one leg over your hip as an option, and then bring the other leg up to join it. So your legs are in tabletop now as you carry on pumping your arms, breathing in through the nose of 5, out through the mouth of 5. Put the other foot down on the floor if you need to. You can put one foot down and do a few breaths and then switch over. You can do this with your head and shoulders down. You can do it with your feet on the floor, or we can work a little bit harder and stretch the legs away. So you're reaching your toes towards the wall in front of you, not too low, higher if you need to. Just taking that load off your lower spine. Breathing, keep breathing. So you're breathing into your upper body, remember your lateral breath, in through the nose of 5, out through the mouth of 5. We've got 2 more sets to go, so change position of your legs if you need to. We're nearly there. And our last set. And then just head and shoulders down. If your head and shoulders are up, knees in towards your chest. If your knees up, just take a little gentle turn of your head from side to side, just releasing off into the back of the neck. And then one at a time, put your feet back down on the floor. So we're going to do a little bit of work through our hips, our glutes, and we're going to do hip rolls with a butterfly in between. So a little bit different to what we've done before, maybe. So if you want to put your head on the block, always remember, if you want to put your head on the head support now, just put something, cushion or anything underneath your head. Just making sure you're not tipping your head backwards, because that's going to compress the neck. So make sure your neck is nice and long. So let's take our arms a little bit wider than the mat, and then turn your palms up to face the ceiling. So just feeling your shoulders and your chest are open. Have your arms no higher than chest height, otherwise you've got to bring the shoulders up towards your ears. So shoulder blades are drawing down. Then just again with the same position for our shoulders, our hips, our spine and our pelvis, but we're going to have the knees pinned together for our hip rolls. So your legs are glued together, your ankle bones are stuck together, and the insides of your knees are stuck together. Keep the length in your neck. Try and keep it looking up towards the ceiling. So as you breathe in, we're going to let the knees drop over to the left, and your right hip's going to lift off the floor. Only take your knees over as far as you can without the right shoulder lifting off the floor. Then as you breathe out, we're going to bring the knees back, facing the ceiling, so both of your feet are flat on the floor again. A bit different now. As you breathe in, open your knees, pull your knees away from each other, so the soles of your feet turn in towards each other, so you're in your butterfly. Pull the knees back, and if you've got hip issues and you don't like opening your knees wide, just take your knees from side to side, keep them pinned together. So now we go the other way, breathing in, your knees are going to drop over to the right, so your left hip lifts off the floor. Only take as far as you can, without any pinching in your spine, without the left shoulder lifting off the floor. Pull your knees back in, feet go flat on the floor, and then butterfly your legs again. So open the knees, soles of feet turn in towards each other. So really nice hip opener here. Pull your knees back in, and then drop your knees over to the left. So just rolling across your hips. Pull the knees back in as you exhale. As you breathe in, open the knees wide, away from each other, pull them back in. As you breathe out, breathing in, knees to the right, just speeding up a little bit now. And back to center. Open the knees, pull the knees back in. Do one of those each side. So when your knees go over to the left, your right foot shouldn't be on the floor, it should be sitting on top of your left foot. So your ankle bones are stuck together. To center. Open the knees, pull the knees back in. Last time, drop your knees over to the right, left hip lifts, and back to center, and finish up with your butterfly. So you can stay with that. Remember, if any issues with your hips, just do your side to side without the butterfly in the middle. Otherwise, if you want more of a challenge, let's do it one at a time. Lift your feet off the floor, bring your legs to tabletop. Again, pin your knees, your feet in, just softly pointing your toes. Lower back hasn't moved, still on the floor. Use your arms, shoulders to stabilize. Exactly the same now with our feet off the floor. So as you breathe in, just let your knees drop over to the left. Maybe not so far now with both of the feet off the floor. Exhaling, use your abdominals, bring your knees back up in line with your hips. Now we're going to open the knees. Just keep your big toes together as you open your knees. Close the knees, feet line, heels and toes together now. And then your knees drop over to the right and back to center. Feet together, knees open, big toes together. Close the knees and the feet. Over to the left and back to center. Open the knees and close. Drop your knees to the right, back to centre, open the knees and close. One more each way. Remember, you can do this with your feet back on the floor if you need to. Just a little bit more work with your feet off the floor. Last time, to the right, back to centre, open your knees, close the knees. One at a time, put your feet down on the floor. Slide your heels along the floor. One at a time, lengthen your legs, sweep your arms along overhead and take a full body stretch. Stretching through your fingertips, stretching through your toes and breathe. Float your arms up towards the ceiling and let them release slowly and lightly on the mat down by your side. Slide your feet in. Make sure they're hip width apart now, so you've got that space in between your knees and your feet. Your heels are lined up with your sit bones. And then let's walk our heels in a little bit closer to our sit bones now, ready for your shoulder bridge. If you've got anything underneath your head, just slip it away, like a cushion or anything. Make sure the back of your head's on the mat, but still make sure that you're just tucking your chin in a little bit, keeping the back of the neck open. Stabilize, hips level, shoulders level, cores engaged. Arms light on the mat down by your sides. I would just say, just have your palms facing down on the floor, so you can just gently use your arms for a little bit of stability if you need to. So when you're ready, breathe in. As you breathe out, just tuck your tailbone under, tuck your tailbone and flatten your lower back onto it. Squeeze your glutes, and if you can, slowly peel your spine all the way up, away from the mat, coming onto your shoulders. If you don't want to come onto your shoulders, just do those little tips and tilts of the pelvis, just keeping most of the spine on the mat. Otherwise, if you can, we're up on our shoulders, our hips are level, and on your next exhale, you're just going to roll all the way down again. Again, it's that sequential movement of your spine. So really releasing one vertebrae at a time onto the mat. Coming up again, you might just want to push into your feet a little bit and just drive your knees forward gently. So you're keeping that alignment all the time. And both sides of the body are level, balanced, and very symmetrical, really. And slowly coming back down again. So it's a really nice back strengthening exercise. Of course, it's really good for the mobility of your spine, and also encourages us to really squeeze the glutes, to strengthen the glutes, which is really important. That your glutes are, although they're not part of your core group of muscles, they're the biggest muscle groups, and they help support your spine. So really good to have nice strong glutes. So if you want that option, I think we've probably done this a few times before, you just float your arms up towards the ceiling as you peel your spine away from it. Take them up towards the ceiling, or if you feel you can, just take your arms all the way to the floor behind you as you come onto your shoulders. And then as you come down, just gently floating your arms back up towards the ceiling and slowly down by your sides. Let's do that one more time. Pushing into your feet, squeezing your glutes, floating up with the arms, floating back with the arms if you can. Be mindful of how your shoulders feel. Slowly coming down, imprinting your spine. Nice and slowly, all the way down. And then just lift your feet off the floor one time again, just to open up the lower back, just bring your knees in toward your chest again. So a little bit more of a challenge just before we go. Let's do some more core strength work. So we're going to come up to seated. If you need to go onto your side and push yourself up, do so. Otherwise, roll yourself up to a seated position. So we're going to do our full roll downs from seated today, or our half roll downs. So let's start with our knees bent, feet flat on the floor, knees and feet hip width apart. Make sure you're sitting really nice and tall, tucking, lifting up towards the ceiling. And then you can keep your hands behind your thighs if you want a little bit of support, otherwise reach your arms forward, shoulder height, shoulder width apart. And you could always put a little folded up towel or cushion behind your lower back if you need a little bit of support. Otherwise, breathe in as you tuck your tailbone under, just round your spine and just roll off your pelvis, just going onto just the back of your hips. Breathe in, you're really drawing it in, use your abdominals, slowly come back up, shoulders arrive open and sit really nice and tall at the top. Do that one more time. You can just stay with this, just go and do your half roll back, so you don't need to go back too far to really work your deep core muscles, scooping in. Keep your shoulder and chest nice and wide, coming back up. Don't even know you need to go back that far. If you want to, we're going to lengthen the legs along. Keep your legs bent if you need to. Pin your legs together and flex your feet like you're trying to push the soles of the feet towards the wall in front of you. So your legs are long, they're engaged, you're sitting really nice and tall. Breathe in as you tuck and roll. Just first of all, just to the back of yourself, these are just different options I'm giving you. Breathe in as you breathe out, come back up and rebuild your spine. Any lower back issues, be really mindful. It might not be the exercise for you. So just be very careful. Breathe in as you breathe out, coming back up. So you can stay with either of those two options. If you're feeling strong today, let's breathe in as you tuck your tailbone under. We're going to slowly come down, imprint your spine onto the mat. So take your arms up towards the ceiling as your shoulders come down, as your head meets the floor. Just take your arms towards the floor behind you, no lower than the level of your ears. Then bring your arms back up over your shoulders, and as you breathe out, lift your head off the floor, peel your spine away. But if your legs will lift off the floor, don't come up like this. Maybe roll up like a ball if you need to. I'll give you an option if you can't do this. Breathe in, either just don't go all the way back, of course, or if you do come all the way down, imprinting your spine, your arms go up, same movement as you go down, but to come up, circle your arms wide to the side, take your hands behind your thighs, peel your head and shoulders off the mat, so you bring yourself into a little ball, pull your abdomens, and then you could roll yourself up to seated, and then slide your legs away, lengthen your legs and go down again, and imprint on the way down. Otherwise, we imprint all the way down, and we peel away on the way up. So arms go back. Try not to flare your rib cage when your arms go back. Do not allow your legs to lift off the floor. Breathe in, arms to ceiling. Breathing out, peel your spine away. So it's a really good core strength exercise. Make sure you sit really tall at the top. Even if you're rolling up like a ball, still sit tall at the top before you go down again. So really that smooth movement through your spine. Trying to keep your feet flexed, pushing your feet towards the front wall, heels digging into the floor so they don't lift. Let's do one more. Exhaling, rolling down. And last time, make sure you bring your arms up first. You don't have to, it just makes it a little bit easier to bring ourselves up to that seated position. Sit really nice and tall at the top. Breathe in, float your arms up towards the ceiling. As you breathe out, just fold over, take a nice stretch there. And then just point your toes, just rest your hands on the front of your ankles, your feet or your shins. Breathe in as you breathe, just slide your hands up the front of your legs and rebuild your spine nice and slowly, sitting really nice and tall at the top. And then roll your shoulders, just give your legs a little bit of a shake out there, just release off any tension in your legs. Just sweep your legs around to one side, just coming up onto our hands and knees again. Just to finish off as we started more or less. So finishing off with a nice stretch in our cat and cow. You could do this on your forearms if you needed to. Otherwise, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Again, lengthen your spine before you start. Breathe in as you breathe out. Let's bring our spine into flexion, into your cat stretch. Tuck your tail around the spine, chin to chest. So nice stretch, shoulders wide across your back. Soft elbows, but just gently pressing into your hands. Then let's come up into our cow pose, into extended cow pose, lifting the chest, looking forward, sit bones up. Then lengthen your spine back into neutral, nice and long in your spine. Tuck your toes under, walk your hands to your knees, lift your knees off the floor, walk your hands to your toes, coming into your forward fold. Keep the knees bent if you need to, otherwise just straighten your legs as much as you can without fully extending them. A little bit of softness in the knees. Get that nice stretch all the way down the back of your legs. Try and have your arms long and loose and just shake your head and nod your head. Navel to spine. Breathe in as you breathe out slowly. Let's come all the way up to standing. Breathe, stacking your spine. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling, look up. Circle your arms wide to the side, look forwards. Bring your arms down by your sides. Breathe in as you breath. One more last time, we're going to roll down again. Don't go all the way down if you don't want to. Big bend in the knees if you need to. But just see how much easier that is now as we've really worked and lengthened our spine, our legs, we've stretched. This is a good stretch for your hamstring. If your legs are more or less straight, slowly coming back up again, with control. And then stand nice and tall at the top. Find a little bit of softness in your knees. You're going to do a ragdoll now. So pull your tummy in there with your spine, soften into your knees, breathe in. As you breathe, just sweep your arms down towards me, just folding out chest towards your thighs, and then sweep your arms back up and look up if you can. Sweep down and sweep up. Long, heavy arms. Big bend in the knees, pushing into your feet as you sweep your arms back up. Let's do that 2 more times. Sweep down and sweep up and look up if you can. Last time, sweep down, sweep up, arms to ceiling. Look up, take a little bit of a stretcher, fingertips to the ceiling, and then look forwards, take your arms wide to the side and slowly bring your arms all the way down. And then roll your shoulders. And well done, everybody.